Okay, this is going to be a brief overview of how to create the study guide for the measuring test. It's pretty straightforward. There are inch rulers and metric ruler reading in there. If you do not know how to read the inch ruler or the metric ruler, I strongly suggest you go to the ruler game here and play this and practice. And we're not going to be studying that. It's You need to know that information, but you will not be including that in the study guide. So once again, if you're struggling with that, you want to go to this resource here and use it. Also posted in Classroom, and I have basically a study guide direction sheet that just walks you through what to do. So watch the videos and review how to use the dial caliper. I'll post a video in Classroom that I made on YouTube a while ago, and it goes over how to read the dial caliper. The first step in this whole entire project is to watch this video and review how to read it. Okay, so and then if you're struggling once again with the ruler, go ahead to the ruler game and play that for a little bit. Then what you're going to do is you're going to create some questions in an online quiz. That focus on measurement and measuring tools and types of measurements. So I'm going to run you through that. I'm going to do one of each of these. You're going to do 10 images of the dial caliper. You're going to do 4 questions that identify the different ways we use the caliper to measure. So depth, step, inside diameter, and outside diameter. And then you're going to include 5 pictures of the measuring tools, any 5 of your choice. I gave you a list of 8 of them here. You need to know all 8 of these, but you only have to include 5 of them in your study guide. Then you're going to create an online quiz using the images, and that's what this video is mainly going to cover. And then you're going to share the link in Google Classroom with me as an assignment. And then the whole outcome of this is to hopefully help you review your measuring and help you succeed on the measuring exam. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started. We're just going to do 10 or 1 of each of these. So we'll start with the dial caliper one. The first thing you need to do is just go to Google. Please keep in mind that my computer is a little different than your Chromebook, so you're going to have to save these to your drive, where I'll be saving it to my desktop. So you just have to kind of take that in consideration. I'm going to be editing these directly after I save them. You might need to save them in your drive and then edit them with a picture editing app. So just something to think about. It might not be exactly the same, but this should be enough information that you can just follow right along. So just type in virtual dial caliper. And we're only going to read this to the 10th or the thousandths of an inch. So go ahead and click on it and scroll down, and you can click on this to enlarge it, and then you can mess around with the stop it, start it, whatever. One thing I do want you to pay attention to is when we're reading this, we're not reading it here, we're not reading it here. This is the tab we're using on the dial caliper to read. So make sure you don't screw that up. A lot of times students just screw up where they're exactly harvesting the information from, and it's right here. So be aware of that. So I'm just going to open this up to a random value. I'm going to write these down because when I save the pictures, they don't always stay where I'm able to read them. Basically, in a minute, I'm going to show you how to put these into quizzes, and it's not always easy to see. So I'm just going to write this down. I'm going to call this dial 1, and I'm going to write the measurement down, and that's going to help me when I go to make my quiz. All right, so I got dial 1, 2.970. All right, so I'm going to do a screenshot of that. Your keyboard's different than mine, but do a quick screenshot. All right, then mine saves it right in my pictures. So I click on pictures, screenshots, and here we are. This is the most recent screenshot here, 10. I'm going to open it up. There it is. I'm going to click on my crop tool like this, and I'm just going to go ahead and crop this down. Now this one, because it is a larger value, I don't want to crop too much off that. I still want to be able to see it. But the main thing we want to crop out is the answer, because we're going to use this for the quiz. So after I get this cropped, I just hit Control S for save. It's going to save. All right, and then I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to close that. Close that. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go find our next image. So you're going to do that. Find 10 images of the dial caliper. I would recommend basically creating a database of all the images you're going to use for the quiz and then assembling them into the quiz at a later date. So make sure you're managing your files, make sure you know where you're storing everything, make sure you're labeling them so you know. And as I stated, I like to write down the answer right away because when you put it in quizzes, it is a bit smaller and it's hard to read. So now I need to find uh, some sort of question that's going to revolve around what we measure with the dial caliper, for instance, depth, inside diameter, outside diameter. So you can find an image of this and maybe say identify which of the following the dial caliper is being used to measure. So we'll go ahead and just type in dial caliper step measurement. Okay, so I do that, click on images. You can select tools here and look for size, large. Now you can see that limits quite a bit of what I'm able to find. I'm looking for step, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of these aren't really showing that. In fact, this is completely wrong right here. This is not measuring step at all, and neither is this. So I'm going to actually go back. I'm going to say any size because it just refined things too much. And here's a good example of how step is measured from the top of the caliper to this part of the jaw. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on that, save image as. Now once again, when you're saving images, you need to save them into your drive. I'm saving them into my desktop, but I'm using a computer, not a Chromebook. So I'm going to call this DC dial caliper, and I'm going to call it step. Hit save. All right, so I've got that image, I've got one of the dial caliper reading, and then the last image I'm trying to locate is going to be one of these measuring tools. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if we can find some gauge blocks. That's the first one up there, so I'm going to go back to Google, and I'm just going to type in gauge blocks. And there's a set of them here, and this is what they look like. Right click on that, say save image as. Call these gauge blocks. Click save. All right, so obviously I'm only doing one from each of these. You need to make sure you're accumulating the required number for the study guide. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close Google. Done with this virtual dial caliper. I can close that out. I don't need this ruler game. I'm going to keep this open, and I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'm going to type in quizzes. Now, if you need to create an account when you get here, go ahead and click here and create an account. I already have one, so I'm just going to say login. After you create an account, it's going to bring you to a page like this. Just click create new quiz. It's going to ask you to identify a subject area and name it. I'm going to go ahead and pick other because it's for welding. And then I'm going to say welding measuring quiz. And then I'm going to go next, and now I can start making my questions. So I'm going to say create a new question. All right, this is the question dialog box here, and I'm just going to say identify the measurement in the image. I'm going to go ahead and upload that image of the dial caliper. All right, so if I find that, it's on my desktop. That one was actually on my screenshot, so it's in pictures. And then I'm going to click down here. This is the screenshot of it, and here we are. Now this is where I was saying you can click to enlarge it, but I'm just saying you might want to write down all your measurements. This can be harder to read. So I wrote that down. The correct answer is 2.970. So I'm going to plug that in down here in B, 2.970. And then I'm going to make some other answers in here that are close to it, like maybe 2.971. And then down here, we're pretty close to 3 there, so I might go 3.001, and then I might try another one, 2.070. And then I select the correct one, 2.970. All right, and then I click save. So that's the first question. You're going to do 10 of those for the dowel caliper, pretty straightforward. The next one, I'm going to just go ahead and list, identify which type of measurement is being completed with the dial caliper. And what I will do with this is I'm just going to go back to this sheet and, okay, what were the 4 types? Okay, depth, step, inside, and outside diameter. So I go back there, and those are going to be my 4 answer options. So we go depth, step, inside diameter, and then outside diameter. I'm going to go ahead and load that graphic in here. And it was actually on my desktop, and it is this one here. And I'm going to go ahead and click the correct answer, which is step, and then I'm going to click save. And then basically I'm going to do the exact same thing, just identify the tool in the image, and I'm going to put some tools in here. So we put in here dial caliper. Put in here machinist square. Put in here digital caliper. Put down here gauge blocks. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and click and add our image of our gauge blocks. We're going to select the correct answer, and then we're going to hit save, and that's all there is to it. So you're going to make one of these, and then you're going to prepare. You're going to use this to study for the test. What I recommend is that once you complete this, if you finish ahead of time, that you share links with other people and you do their quiz to practice as well. So the more practice here, the better you're going to do on the test, and it's a summative grade, so we want to make sure we're doing well on that.